Hello and welcome to this flash webinar training for MyFulcrum.com. The goal of this training is to get through the basics of MyFulcrum as quickly as possible. This should give you a good introduction to the basics of the Fulcrum system. So when you first sign up, Fulcrum will go ahead and create an initial admin account for your company. And then from there, you'll want to go in and add in your own users. So I'm going to click here and search for my company name. There's my company, it comes up. You can also find it in the drop down. And I can add any pertinent information here. Here's an office list, our various offices, and then here are contacts that are within our company. And so I'm going to go ahead and create a new contact. Click that, first name, last name, and email, and then click new contact. We'll pretend that I had already done that. So here's a contact. I can assign this contact various roles. There are system roles and there are project roles. So I'm going to go ahead and add Adriana to this project, and then I'm going to give her the role of project manager on the project. And then I'm actually going to add her to another project. She's also a project manager on that project. There we go. If I want to take a role away, I can just click the X, and I can click the X there and take her off the project. Once you create a user and assign some roles, you may want to invite them. So Adriana has not been invited yet, so I'll go ahead and click on the invite, or click on the checkbox there, and then if I go down to the bottom, I can send her an invitation. So if I click that, it will email out an invitation. Okay, you've got your team added. Now let's add some vendors. I'm going to click on Create New Company. Notice as I start to type, it comes up with companies that are already in my database. You want to make sure that you don't add duplicate companies into your contacts. It can cause problems down the road with, which company was a subcontract issued to, which company are users in. So make sure as you're creating companies that you just take a moment, make sure that the name is correct, and make sure that you don't have a duplicate. So I would fill in company name and additional information and click Create Company. And then just like I did with my users, I can add in their users or their contacts. Okay, let's talk about projects. I'm going to go to Projects Admin, create new project. We'll call this Demo Project 2. I'm going to say it's a two-story slab on grade. With these other things, the building unit count, gross square feet, net rentable, if you input all of those, then there's places later on that calculations are done based on that to get the cost per square foot. We'll go ahead and make it an active project. The completion date's not aspirational, that's actual. Don't put something in there until it's actually done because it actually turns off some of the features. And then the other thing that you'll want to put in is the zip code. For the daily log, it picks up the weather from the zip code. And without that, it won't pull in weather. Okay, we'll go ahead and click on Save New Project, and here we are in Demo Project 2. Okay, let's talk about the Plans folder. This is a special folder inside of File Manager, Plans. Now there's nothing in it, but it has some special permissions that allow bidders to see that. In the near future, you'll be able to just take an entire folder and drag and drop it, but right now you kind of have to build the folder structure inside of that. So go ahead and create a folder for architectural, and then inside of that, I'm going to all I have to do is drag and drop these plans. I'm going to drop them into the architectural, and you can see here is the status as it uploads to the server. And there they are. And if you click on a plan, it will show you a preview over here. So if I click on this, it'll go ahead and load a preview of it here. You can zoom in as necessary. You can also right-click on it and download, and it'll download it to your local machine. The other thing that you can do, and the bidders will be able to do this as well, when they come in, they can right-click and click on download, and it's actually going to, if you notice down here, please wait while your files are prepared, and then it actually zipped the entire folder and downloaded it. And they can do that for the entire plans folder if they want. The bidders, when they come in, they're not going to see any other folders that are in here. Eventually you'll notice that we'll have some additional folders, but they'll only be able to see the plans folder. Under project management, we have budget. Let's talk about cost codes. So when you first set up with Fulcrum, we'll have a conversation with you about what your cost codes look like, and we'll try and make it so that your existing cost codes are represented here in Fulcrum. So I've already done that for this company, but there is this Manage Master Cost Codes list. This is where you would add cost codes if you want to modify your cost codes. But I've already done that, so I'm going to do Import Cost Codes. We'll do erosion control, temp power. Let's go to site work, surveying, rough grading. Let's see, concrete. You can go through and select them. You also have the option to just select everything. But for purposes of this demo, I'm just going to select a few. So I'll import those, and here they show up in my budget. Enter my prime contract schedule values. So I click the unlock button or the edit button there, and I'm just going to enter some quick numbers here. Okay, I'll enter a few, and then if I click lock, now I'm not going to accidentally change that number that is the prime contract scheduled value. As I clicked the number, the cost code number for rough grading. So I'll click that. Before I can send out bids, I need to have an invitation to bid. So I've already prepped one here. It's a PDF, and I'm just going to drag and drop it, and it will upload it. Now, with rough grading, I also have a scope of work that I've prepared. Again, it's a PDF, rough grading scope of work. I'm just going to drag and drop it. You can always click and view. So there's my bid invitation, and same thing here, click and view the scope of work. And you can upload multiples and select which one gets sent out. By default, the most recently uploaded one will always be the one that goes out if you don't select anything. And same thing with scope of work. If there's just one scope of work there, it's going to go out. Now I'm going to click on the Add Bidders. I am going to go ahead and select this guy. Where'd my concrete guy go? And so you can see as I click on lines, they show up down here in the selected bidders. Now I'll go ahead and click on Add Selected Bidders. And here are the ones that I selected. Now you'll notice the status is potential bidder because we haven't sent anything out to them. But I'm going to go ahead and select these two, and I could add in a custom message here if I wanted to. For purposes of this, I'm just going to go ahead and send the bid invite. I'll click, it's processing, and then you'll see a success thing up here. All bid invitations were successfully sent. Okay, so now I've got a bid invite that just came into my email. You can see it. Comes in, we invite you to bid, click here to view the plans. And notice it includes the invitation to bid, and it includes the scope of work. And then I'm going to go ahead and click here to view the plans. And it takes me into the file manager. I'll click on it. I'll click on plans. There's architectural. and there they are. And as a bidder, I can just go ahead and right click on download, and it downloads right to my computer. If I refresh this page, come back into, notice that the status for the ones that I sent, engineers and plumber, has been changed to invited to bid. Now, let's say that I get bids back from a couple of these guys. I'm going to click on add bid and just drag and drop the bid for that one. Notice it says bid received, and I've got a copy of the bid right there. And we'll do the same thing with this guy. We'll drop that bid there. So this status of bid received, that's actually important if you're using the bid spread. So from this window, I can click on View Spread. There's also another place where I'll show you from the budget page where you can get to your spread. So if you want to spread the bids, we have a spreadsheet tool that lets you do that. So I'll click on that, and you'll notice that the two bidders who have a status of bid received come in. The others don't show up because we don't have a bid from them yet. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this bid spread item. I'll create a few rows. Item 1. And then here's something neat that you can do. If you type subtotal, whoop, that becomes a special row. It'll refresh, and it actually subtotals those amounts. Add another item here. Notice my grand total updates, but I can break it out by the subtotal. Now this is where I said if you enter in your units and your square footage, these will calculate, and you can get an idea of your cost per unit for that trade. Let's go out of the spread and go back here to the budget. Notice here in the budget, under rough grading, I've got a 2 and 2 invited bidders. I sent out 2 bid invitations. I got back 2 bids. That's what that means. If I were to send out, let's say that I send out 2 more bid invitations, and then close this out. Now notice I've got 4 invited, but 2 are active. And I can also get to the bid spread just by clicking on rough grading. Notice I don't have those 2 that I just invited because I haven't got a bid back from them, and their status in the add bidders window has not changed to bid received. Mark this guy as a preferred subcontractor. And notice I've got the subcontract link right here. If I click that, it will take me into the Create Subcontract window, and it will copy in their name and the value of their bid. And I can create a new subcontract. We've got it set up with templates to automatically generate your subcontracts. So if I click on this 703 and then show you this, notice that it puts their name in. If I'd put an address in for them, it would have their address there. It has the name of the project, waivers and releases, same thing here. Puts their information, my information, the project information. And we can customize those waivers to your needs. So now that I've got all that, I'm going to render all. And then I'll click on Compile Final Subcontract. And that will actually bundle all of those together into one PDF file. So now I've let a subcontract, and I can go back to the budget. It should come in here in a second. Now it shows the vendor is Engineers Inc. So there's a subcontract in place. You can also use this purchasing target date to kind of plan your buyout. So having a subcontract in place is important for some of the other activities that we'll cover later on. When you go in to do a change order, create new change order, one of the first things, because the change order is with the owner, if the owner has not been assigned in the project info screen, it's going to take you there. Put in project owner. And I just have to tab out of that to save it. And now I can go back to change orders, create a new change order. We'll mark this one as a potential. This was a owner request. If you want, you can select a cost code for it and the subcontractor that started it. And then for this one, let's say that the owner wants Decora outlets. We'll put in a description, and then we've got some backup here to attach. So I'll drop that in, some backup for it. And then here you've got this cost analysis breakdown. If we had multiple lines for this change order, we could add them in and it would total them up. And then you can also add in, for example, we'll do fee, and it's 3.5%. And so it gives me my total. And then I could save it. For purposes of the demo, I'm going to go ahead and just close out. If you click close, it doesn't save anything. All right, so that's change orders. Meetings, there's a lot in meetings, and we're just going to go over it really quickly. We'll click on new meeting. And then if I had added project contacts to this project, for example, and given them the roles of consultant or architect or owner, they would show up here as potential attendees, and then I could check the box for the attendee. I can put in the other information, start time, end time. For purposes of this webinar, let me see if I can find, we'll just pull this over real quick, and you can see here we've got the different discussion items and then the actual discussions, and you can assign tasks or action items within the different discussion items, and you can add comments. The comments will be tagged by who enters them, and so it can be a collaborative process. It's really a collaborative communication manager, and you can grab these and rearrange them depending on how you want them sorted. We'll do a more detailed meetings example in the future. RFIs. Go ahead and create a new RFI. Give it a title. If you need to, you can give it a plan page reference there. And this is an architect. And then I've actually got a clouded plan page here that I'll upload. So it's uploading, success. I can click on that. You can see, and then I can select a contact. Of course, I haven't added anyone to my project yet, so it's not going to work. Maybe I should go in and remedy that real quick. I got to exit out. I'm going to go into admin, and let me go to project team members. And I'm actually going to, let's say that this guy is not just a bidder, he is actually a consultant because he's an engineer. And we'll make this guy an architect. And let's make this guy an engineer. And now let's give this guy another role as well. Let's say that he's an owner. Now he should show up in meeting minutes. So if I go back to project manager, RFIs, it wouldn't let me save it as draft because I didn't have a contact here. So let's see, contact. Now I can actually select my contact. So I'm going to select Joel, and we'll go through this process again. And we'll drag and drop that file in again. And once that's there, then I can go ahead and save the RFI and notify the team. And so it'll actually generate a cover sheet for the RFI and send it out. So if I click on View RFI PDF, here's what the cover looks like, and then it's got my attached plan pages. Zoom in on that a little bit. So there's the request for information. That's RFIs. Here's the RFI log. Submittals operates very similar to that, so I won't go through all of that. One thing on RFIs and submittals, sometimes you'll get a number of attachments that come in the course of either the RFI process or the submittal process. And by checking this box, it will be attached to the final PDF. So if I uncheck this plan set will no longer be part of the PDF that gets emailed out. Same thing with submittals. You do have the option to delete the attachment, but if you want to leave it there as part of the process and for documentation, you can leave it there, but it just won't get emailed out. Let's talk about the daily log real quick. Daily log. I only let one subcontract so far on this project, and so I only have one sub that shows up as being able to be on site for manpower count. So I'll go ahead and say that my rough grading guy had 5 people out there. You can upload photos. You can upload either from your computer right here or from your phone. But I'm going to drag and drop. So the way that the daily log works is the most recent, the last 4 photos that are uploaded will be the ones that show up on the daily log. So I've uploaded 4. Now I'm going to upload a couple more. But it's just the 4 most recent ones that will actually be emailed out when the daily log gets emailed out. I've got this internal photos, and I can upload as many photos as I want to that. That's kind of a separate place where you might put photos that you don't necessarily want to share with outside of your company. You can also upload field reports and daily sign-in sheets. It's just a place to catalog those. They don't actually get emailed out with the daily log. Same with internal photos. They don't get emailed out. Here under admin, building activities, import job site building activities, and now I can either select from one of my other projects or from the template. And let's just go ahead and import everything. I'll import everything on that. Site work. If I do import, I'm just going to select a few of these. Import. And now if I go back to my site work tab, now I've got those few that I imported. And then on building activities, I've got a whole bunch, and I can go through and select the things that happened. Select a few. Notice there's this filter by manpower. This is kind of an advanced feature, but you can actually link these items or your own items to cost codes. And then when I selected these guys as being on site, because it's a value other than 0. Now job tasks, building tasks that that are connected with them would show up. This would be a reduced list. Obviously I haven't done that yet. Inspection type, I can select from these different inspections and put in notes and whether it was passed, and then click create, it'll show up. So we'll go ahead and we'll just say that there was a compaction test and it was passed. And then if there are any delays for the day, you could put that in here. General notes, you would just type a narrative, any safety notes, any visitors to the site. I think the rest of it's self-explanatory. Now I can go to the preview. And here it has who was on site, the manpower and totals, the site work and building activity, and then notice I've got these photos here. These are the last 4 that were uploaded. And notice that it gives you your outstanding RFIs, so that it's kind of a constant reminder if there are RFIs that are outstanding. Subcontract change order. We'll skip over a couple things here. Create subcontract change order. This is based on which subcontracts have been let. Obviously, you have to have a subcontract in place before you can create a subcontract change order. Here's the description. Backup file that you can add shows there. And then you can select who it goes out to. And then either save and notify team, and it'll send it out to the whole team that you've selected here. This is your team. Or you can do save as subcontract change order, no email. I'm going to go ahead and do no email because it's just a potential. So it'll generate the actual cover sheet. So if I go view SCO PDF, you can see here that it's actually built a change order and has signature blocks and the amount and the verbiage that I added. Okay, let's talk about a couple of other things real quick. I've got this punch list. This is really more of a mobile feature. There's not much you can do on the web. Once there are items and someone in the field has entered punch items from their mobile device, it'll show up here. But we can go to punch list admin, have the ability to create defects, and then under projects admin, we actually have this manage buildings and units. And whoops, I did that wrong, didn't I? If you have your units in a spreadsheet, you can go ahead and just copy and paste them in here. But I'm going to do building 1 and create building. And then I could do another building if I wanted there, but we'll just stick with that. We'll do 101, 102, 103. So now we've got some units. And now those will be available in the mobile app to create defects within those units. So you want to put in your full list. Let's go back to File Manager. So now we've done some things. And notice that this list in File Manager is much longer than it was before. Before it just had plans. But we did some stuff with bidding and purchasing. We did some stuff with change orders. And if we go in, we can actually see, this is a change order draft, and there's the attachment. In daily log, there should be some photos here. It's arranged by year and month. And here are the photos that we uploaded. I can go through and just view those. RFIs, same thing. Here's RFI number 1. And there's the RFI cover and then the attachment. And same thing with subcontract change order and submittals. We did some work there, and so they show up. Let's go into reports real quick. Basically, you've got a list of reports. You've got date options. And you've got how you want to view the report. And so if we go to the contract log, if I click on generate report, it'll show my list of cost codes that I need to buy out, and then it shows which trades have been contracted. And I can do it in PDF as well, generate report, and it will download the PDF. You can select from these various reports. And then real quick, the mobile apps. There's an app for iOS and there's an app for Android. They're available on the App Store. Just search for MyFulcrum. This is what it looks like. Same thing on the Google Play. On your device, search for MyFulcrum. So that's the quick overview. Thanks for watching, and if you have questions, reach out.